Edition of the Buddy Martin Show. That is me. I'm glad to be with you tonight on this Thursday night. Used to call it Orange and Blue Bloods. We call it whatever you want to call it. It's the Buddy Martin Show. Glad to be with you. Got a good show for you tonight lined up. In just a few seconds, Chris Doering will join us. We haven't had Chris on quite some time. From his perch up there in the SEC network, he gets to talk about things from the 30,000-foot perspective. I want to hear what he's got to say about what about this crazy hot streak that Billy Napier is on recruiting. It seems like he's the hottest coach in the country right now. It feels that way. It looks that way. Let's get Chris's view of it. He'll be on tonight with us. Of course, it's Thursday. That means we got Ben Troupe and Franz Bearden back from Paris. Yes, Paris. Not Paris, Texas. Paris, France. Coach Loren Meadows will finally join the show. I'm sure he'll be sipping champagne and what have you. Anyway, so that's what's going on tonight. Should be a good show. Welcome your comments here. Going to have a good hour. Tell your friends and neighbors. The Buddy Martin Show is officially on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Evening and welcome to the program. Glad that but so much baseball, lady. We don't know anymore. Why is there not a game on tonight? What a heartbreaker last night for Arkansas. Don't have a dog in that fight, but my goodness, to see them get so close to making it and completely blow the game on two occasions, your heart has to go out to those kids trying to win a game for their coach, trying to get a national championship that he's never had, and they wound up. And of course, Coastal now is going to be the team to watch. They're going to be in the finals against LSU. Yes, LSU is. So let's see if we can go find our friend Chris Doering here tonight. Chris will join the program in just a moment, and we will be talking about what else football, and also about what else is happening in the world of sports right now. The recruiting. Let's see if we can get Franz on or get Chris on here. Okay, Chris, go ahead. He says 1 second. Okay, let's see if Chris can get on 1 second. I don't think I'll make 1 second. Anyway, back to the idea of the college game. It's still the college game, although it's certainly the pro level, getting paid pro amounts. But to watch Arkansas last night go down in bitter defeat to LSU, had the game won on two occasions, could have done something to stop it. First of all, you have a double play ball hit to the all-world shortstop. It's 2 outs, and you're done, and you're in the finals. What possessed him to throw to third to get the force out, I'll never know. This is what happens when you get a college kid, and he is a college kid, under pressure. He made the throw. They got the out. Now they're 1 out away. And, of course, as you know, then things started happening. They ended up giving 2 runs, and then the outfielder in the final going totally misjudged a ball, and they wound up losing the game. So they'll get a chance to play a red-hot Coastal for the championship. I know this guy keeps up with a lot of stuff, although lately between running his mortgage company and trying to keep up with his job and the afterglow of Peter Burns, this is something that causes heartache and what have you, and heartburn. And my buddy Chris Doering, haven't had him on a long time. Welcome back, Chris Doering. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, buddy. Good to be on with you, man. How you been?
Been a while. It's sure nice
Yeah.
to see you. Well, I'm watching this amazing recruiting story. I'm not a recruiting guy. I'm not that guy that does that. But as I was trying to tell your buddy Shane Matthews the other day, we're at a point where we can't not talk about it. Now, you have a different situation because of the network and what have you, you're not allowed to talk about players that aren't committed. But in our business, in our world, if it's as important as everybody says it is, and I take the word of those like Urban Meyer who says it's everything, we have to learn how to talk about it. And we're not on 3. We don't have a guy who follows every commitment. And there's so much, as you know, the way it's changed today with the money involved and the decommits, commits, whatever. You've got to try to keep up a little bit. But any idiot, including me, can figure out when Florida signs 10 guys in 30 days and so many 5-stars, and especially the last one. The last one they signed is really a game changer. I'm not a wonder bear. Fastest guy, by the way, in high school football. Chris, something's going on in Gainesville.
Yeah, I mean, I take it with a grain of salt. I mean, you used the word sign. It's not signed until they actually sign. So I've seen far too many times where people swoop in at the end with a bigger bag and guys end up going elsewhere. So it definitely feels like there's some positive momentum, but I would call it cautious optimism on my behalf. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about. Obviously, the way the season ended last year, combined with the chance of, this is a unique guy that you have a chance to play with. I think everybody recognizes that being around DJ Lagway, he's different. He looks different. He acts different. He's got a little command about him that's different. The most important thing I think that a quarterback does is elevates the play of the other 10 guys in the huddle with him. And he certainly does that. You see guys that want to come be a part of what he's doing. And, that finish to the season last year, it was big. It was big for, the attitude going into this season. It's big for recruiting. It's big for just a little bit of breathing room for Billy Napier and the coaching staff. So I like the way they finished. I like where we are with commitments. I'm like you. I'm not a huge recruiting guy. Obviously, we have to talk about it, particularly this time of year. But I'll wait till December to see the names signed on the dotted line before I get too happy.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I didn't mean to say signed. I meant committed. And as I said, I can read you the list. There's some things going on here inside of this that I find amazing. If you remember back in the day, after you played, but if you remember the speed that Urban had, Chris Rainey and Jeff Dempsey, the speed they have was incredible. Very quietly, Florida is getting the fastest guys in high school. This guy is a state champion. I guess is a 220, I believe, about 200 meters, I guess. Anyway, he's the fastest guy in college in Florida. And a person told me last night who knows that makes 3 of those Florida has signed. The fastest guys in the state, they've signed 3 of them now. And they've got speed. And you know what speed is. Of course, you didn't have much. You made it up for it with your brains and your ability to work hard and run routes and get in the open and catch balls. But I mean, you can't beat that speed. Now, this guy, CJ Brown, is supposed to be something remarkable. He decommitted from Nebraska. So if you add Bernal, let me list these names here. 4-star defensive lineman Jarrell McCoy. 4-star wide receiver Marquez Daniel. 4-star running back Carson Baker. 4-star wide receiver Justin Williams. 4-star safety Caden Hall. 4-star offensive tackle Tyler Chukayam. 3-star tight end Kiku Amoma. 3-star offensive tackle Chancellor Campbell. 3-star lineman Janeri Carr. 3-star offensive tackle Javari Luca. I mean, come on. Out of all those, as someone said to me last night, well, they're not committed. And I guess it was probably Shane earlier in the week. Said, well, they're not committed. I get it. They're not signed. They're committed. But I will bet you, because of the way the NIL deal is working right now, I will bet you that 8 out of 10 of those will sign with Florida. Because if you listen to Tom Luganville and others saying, be careful about getting out there on an island because there's the top 1,500 guys got no problem. Top 150 guys got no problem. But there's going to be some musical chairs games, guys going to be left out. So you can be left out and go into Georgia State if you're not careful. But just my instincts, and again, I don't know anything. I'm just an idiot. an old guy trying to figure it all out. This sounds to me like something really special brewing. And I've been told by a person who has been inside the meetings with the top kids when they were there, inside the meetings, that this is just the beginning. They got more to come. And if they do, I mean, this could be a game changer, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, all those things are great. I want to see how they play football. I want to see guys. I was impressed with the spring getting to watch Dallas Wilson and Burnell Brown, these guys we had heard about that now, wow, they looked the part. They got the measurables, but they also can play some football as well. So I'm with you, man. I trust the evaluation. I think this coaching staff does a good job, particularly at the receiver spot. I've been really impressed with the way that they've evaluated the transfer portal guys over the years, the way that they've brought in high school talent, Trey Wilson being one of those guys a couple of years ago that made an immediate impact. So I trust them, but at the same time, I want to see, I mean, high school football is much different than playing in the SEC. So there is some adaptation that's required, but it beats the hell out of, being 35th in the recruiting rankings. It's a chance for Florida fans to be optimistic, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I haven't watched a single minute of film of any of those guys, nor do I really care to, because I care about college football players, and I trust the coaches to bring the right guys in and get them coached up.
I'm going to tell you what I told Shane. That's the 1980 way of looking at things. I'm the old guy. I'm the get off the lawn guy. I'm the guy who's, I've heard people say, I don't care about recruiting to show up. This different today. It's not the same. Recruiting is now the forefront. The money has changed everything. There's the dynamics of deals being done and players coming to school as like free agents has changed everything. So you do have to pay attention to it. Look, I watched Lagway in high school. I watched his video. I'm not one of those film geeks. I don't, but even I could see this guy was special. You're a trained eye. I would think if you watch some of these kids that we're hearing about, that you could bring us a lot on your evaluation. I'm just saying.
Don't count on me. I ain't doing that. I promise you right now. I ain't doing it. You said it before. I'm not allowed to talk about guys until they're signed anyway. So
but you're a Gator fan. But you are a Gator fan.
I'm a Gator fan, but I've never. Yeah, I'm a walk-on. What am I to speak about when it comes to recruiting? I didn't get recruited anywhere, so I'm not one that can speak to it in that respect.
Even better. Better.
Yeah, I think I don't. You said it's changed. It's always been about recruiting. I mean, you mentioned Urban Meyer. They were bringing in top talent. It was just a little different, and I would say, if you can get people like DJ Lagway, DJ Lagway was paid a lot of money, but there was never any wavering. If you can get guys that come in that are able to recruit other players. I mean, I was looking at that LSU receiver that was up, 5-star guy that was committed to LSU that was out of Tennessee with all the Tennessee stuff on the other day. Like, what message does that send to the rest of the class that you're trying to get in there? So if these guys can have these commitments that are firm and go out there and help recruit the rest of the class, man, I'm all about it. But I think there is something special, man. I like what these guys have done in terms of accumulating talent. I like the hell out of Russ Callaway. I don't know how much you've had a chance to be around Russ Callaway.
That's what I'm going to get to you about, is that knowing the coaches, I'm fascinated with Jamar Jaluk. I think this guy is amazing. I read up with him. I'm telling you, this guy's special. Look at the guys he's put on the field. I mean, Jaden Boggs, I was on him like a duck on a June bug. I love that guy when I first met. He's got more coming, and he's had a terrific track record. And by the way, he's a very interesting guy once you read up on him. I didn't get a chance to meet him or talk to him. I don't have access to players. You have a lot more than that. Tell me about the tight end coach.
I mean, I had a chance to be. I'm on the Gator Boosters board, and had a chance to be in a meeting here a couple of weeks ago where Coach Callaway came in, and man, the charisma that he has. He gave a presentation to everybody in that room. He took us through film cut-ups. He was showing us, the 3D, going through every position group. It was impressive, and I know that he's been involved in some of the play calling, and I think people have kind of wanted Coach Napier to give more of that up. I feel like some of that is going to happen. I don't know what the dynamics are exactly, but listening to Russ Callaway and having a chance to see the confidence with which he speaks, the charisma that he has. This is a guy that's a leader, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him have a much bigger role in terms of the game plan and play calling on Saturdays.
Well, I keep hearing that. We keep hearing it, but in the end, Billy's going to call the plays. You got a guy, quarterback coach, who's now more involved. He's been in Ryan. You've got a running back coach who's, I think, is as good as the coach on the team. The offensive line suddenly now has become stout. They're being ranked by people and really high, and it's not something we've heard about a lot. And I'll tell you, this group of wide receivers, what we're hearing about. Now, this is not stuff we're just reading on the internet. We're hearing from players who on the field with them. I mean, they're just blown away by these guys. Wilson, Dallas Wilson, my gosh, they say he's just crazy.
Yeah, J. Michael Sturdivant too. I mean, this is a guy that's
he's a veteran. Yeah, he's a guy that you expect it from him or whatever. And then you got a lot of players. You got and they got a heck of a coach in Billy. So,
I'll tell you what's different too now, buddy, is with the proliferation of the passing game at all levels, with the 7-on-7, like these guys come in much better prepared than what we did back in the day. These guys are physically more developed, as you can see when you look at them during spring, and they're much more prepared in terms of understanding how to run routes, using leverage, the way you catch the football. So I think, again, this staff has done a great job dating back to, a number of the different transfer portals guys that they've been, Elijah Badger last year and Tim DK. These guys are proven when it comes to Billy Gonzalez, as you know, is one of the best in college football when it comes to coaching that position. So I really feel good. The goal this year was to put talent around DJ Lagway. The offensive line, as you mentioned, it returns a lot of experience. But my biggest takeaway from being out at spring was how different Florida looks this year, particularly on being around the offensive line. They are massive. Yeah. I think they shuffled some pieces to put them in the right place. The defensive line is massive. You accumulated the speed. I think Florida has the best linebacking core in the SEC, really, which is something you couldn't have said a couple years ago.
Maybe the most underrated group on defense.
No question. Yeah.
And we're going to see that. And now we're hearing, the safety position. I think it's solidified somewhat. They're getting better, really good corners in here. Look, all they got to do is to get 3 or 4 stops a game that they weren't getting. They're going to score 30 or 32, whatever, and that's enough to win if you can stop somebody. I know I'm talking out of my head right now, but I'm just beginning to build a head of steam on this roster and the speed. I was talking to Luke. I was listening to Luke talk. And I got a kick out of it. Someone said, you could put together a heck of a 4x100 relay team, probably could beat the one on the track team. And this latest kid is they got C.O. Bernal. He's a speedster. He's a state champion. And you add in the rest of them, including Aiden Mizell, and Luke said he would be one of them. You could put together 4 guys. What a great charity that would be. Charity event. Have the 4 guys, the football 4x100. Go against the track team. That would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah. No, I'm all about, creating a roster that's filled with speed, and it seems like that's been a point of emphasis for the Florida staff. So they're getting there. I've come on your show in summers past and told you, this is not going to be what you think it is. I know you're the eternal optimist. I am too, but I do feel much better heading into this season than I have the last 2 years for sure.
That's kind of what I wanted to ask you, because you have in fact done that, and you put the brakes on sometimes. I'm not going to keep you more than a minute or so and get you out of here, but I wanted to say that your work has been stellar on the SEC Network. Your show has become the staple for most of us. You even got your partner coached up a little bit. Your annual bet with LSU has been fantastic. Love that. It's been a really, really great thing. It's better when you lose, by the way. Not for years, but it's better. And you feel like you settled into a role there as kind of the veteran, but not the veteran. And I admire how you've held back some on your Gator loyalties, but everybody knows that you're a Gator. It's okay to say it when you do once in a while. How many years has you been on doing this? I was thinking today.
So I just finished my 10th season,
Oh,
and
you gotta be kidding me. No way.
Friday I just signed a 3-year extension that has not been announced yet. So
Congratulations.
yeah,
Wow.
looking forward to being back out there for the next 3 years with those
Man,
guys.
that's fantastic, Chris.
Thank you.
I mean, I was going to say, I know it's been probably at least 8 years.
10, man. I wasn't there for the first year of the launch of the network, but I've been there for the subsequent 10 years. So it's an honor. And you mentioned being the veteran. I'm literally the old. I've never been the oldest guy in any group. I'm the oldest guy, on that network now. And it's funny how things change so quickly.
Let me just tell you one thing. I'll let you go here after this. Is that you go into the business one day and you're kind of a young phenom, and you go into a room of people and you're the youngest guy. You're the youngest guy there, and people meeting all these veterans, and one day you turn around and you're the oldest guy.
I know.
Happens like that. But that gray hair is worth something, Chris. It's worth something, and your experience is worth something. And the familiarity you have with the show and the knowledge that you work at trying to follow is very valuable. And Peter is tolerable because of you. So
I appreciate it. Buddy, I'll say this, man. There's no bigger Gator fan in the world than I am. I've been blessed to grow up around this program. Blessed also to watch so many great players come through the SEC. And so everybody asks me all the time, man, don't you want to move up and do more ESPN stuff? I'm like, no, I am happy doing what I do. I get to cover the league that I know the best, that I'm most passionate about, that I get to go in depth on the most. It is literally a dream come true between what I do on television, on SiriusXM. So many synergies. I just got back from the SEC spring meetings in Destin, and as I'm pulling out of that, you've been there to that Hilton Sandestin before. I'm pulling out, and I'm thinking, man, if 10-year-old Chris Doering would have known that he would have had a chance to be in the room with all these head coaches and talking to them as a friend, it's surreal, and I have to pinch myself sometimes. I've been lucky enough to have live out my dream as a player at Florida, and now this is like the second dream come true. So I'm just very humbled to get a chance to do what I do, and I know how lucky I am as well.
That's well said. And of course, there's also something to be said about talking to them on their level, which you can do now. You're respected by people, and I think you've earned that. And it's great. You're going to have a great 3 years, and you may have a Florida team to talk about. It looks like they may get there, and they go. They don't have to do that. But they got a tough schedule. If they can get through what I call that scorched earth, games 2 through 6, those 4 games, they got a shot of winning 9 and getting to the playoffs. I think
it's first and foremost, being in San Antonio and experiencing all of that success with so many Gator fans was awesome. I've been dying for the last 10 years, to have the chance to have Florida be in a meaningful game in football. We had a couple SEC appearances, but that was by default. We weren't necessarily championship worthy, but I think we're headed in the right direction now. So getting a chance to be at some of these playoff games, man, I would love to be able to come home and cover a playoff game here in the swamp like I got to last year in Columbus, Ohio. And so, I'm just excited about that for my alma mater and for our alma mater. And I look forward to getting a chance to continue to cover this entire, I agree with you, man. If we can get the 9 wins with this schedule, it's funny because last year everybody talked about the schedule, but I think Florida managing the schedule the way they did last year has quieted some of that talk. Like, I understand, hey, it looks like a tough schedule, but you've already been in the fire before. You get Texas coming in here. You get a chance to go on the road to places you've had success before. So I agree that 4-game stretch is going to be defining for Florida, but I have a good feeling that Florida can. I think you win 2 of those, or maybe even 3. You're in great shape.
I know we talked about this a lot. We'll talk about it all summer. And this Texas game is beyond huge. I could make a case for it being the biggest game ever played at Stevensburg, Florida Field. If you bring in the idea of Manning at quarterback, and you bring in Texas being number 1 in the country, and Florida maybe having only 1 loss at that point. This could be huge, and I can't wait to get there and watch that game and see the outcome. This is going to be beyond exciting, and that's why we got a massive crowd on tonight watching you. They're all excited about it, and I'm excited about it, and it's good to feel that juice again, Chris.
Yeah, I'm excited about having big games in the swamp again. We've had moments of it. That Auburn game a few years ago, man, I wasn't there, but like watching P. Ryan's run and hearing the crowd explode the way it did was awesome. It takes me back to not only my days as a player, but my days growing up there. And you look at you were talking baseball, man. Look at the advantage that LSU has because of the way that their fans travel, man. That group of fans, what they do at Alex Box at home, what they've done in Omaha, like that's the kind of support that Florida fans have always brought the Gators in the swamp, and that's what we got to get that back, man.
They were really lucky last night. That's all I got to say. Arkansas gave that game away. That was just I felt.
Well, you know this, man. Teams revert to who they are. At the end of the day, Arkansas has been a team that lets games get away, and LSU finds ways to win.
Yeah, they sure do that. You can't take that away from them. Chris Doering, it's great talking to you. Have a great summer. Maybe we'll get you on one more time before the season starts.
Hey, I'll be less than a month. I'll be in Atlanta at SEC Media Day, so maybe we'll do a follow-up after that, man.
We'll do that for sure. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
Man.
Take care.
Right. Great Chris Doering. Doering got a touchdown. Doering got a touchdown. Doering got a touchdown. And we've got Ben Troupe up next. Let me get Chris off of here. And we're going to talk first about our sponsor. Our sponsor is Meldon Law. Meldon, good folks there who have been doing this a long time for us. And we can't say enough about it. If you want good lawyers, you can find them there. 4 locations to serve you: Ocala, Gainesville, Williston, Lake City. Of course, Jeffrey, you can find at almost any major sporting event. He's still glowing about that basketball national championship, as all Gators are, but Jeffrey more because he is a huge fan and friend of Todd Golden. So it's happening right now for a lot of people, and Jeffrey's one of them. Of course, by the way, if you need help, go by and see the folks at Meldon Law. They won't back down. Here's my man, Ben Troupe. Good evening, friend.
What's up, buddy, man? It was good coming in here and Chris talking about, big time games in the swamp again, big time atmosphere. And I agree with Chris. I agree with you too, buddy. I mean, being able to have that juice back, when you at the University of Florida, we're very, very spoiled because we've experienced it all. I mean, the highs of the highs, the lows of the lows, sometimes the in-betweens. But hardest schedule in 2024, hardest schedule in 2025. We dropped UCF and we added USF. We got a couple of new teams at the beginning of the season, but I'm like Chris, man. It's a 4-game stretch that's going to be pretty rough, but we've seen this before. We've heard it before. We've done this before. I'm looking forward to these guys getting after it. I'm
thinking about you. You had some big games. What was your biggest game in the swamp?
Wow. Oh. My biggest game in the swamp was, my senior year against Florida State was probably the biggest one, regardless of what I did or didn't do, because of what was on the line. We was 3-3 after the first 6 games. In the next 5 games, we ended up being 8-3. Had we beat Florida State, we're 9-3, and I think we go to Atlanta because it was a 3-way tie that year for the East. But the biggest moment for me in the swamp was Auburn my junior year, because we was ranked number 1 in the country my sophomore year. We go to Auburn and lose by a field goal. My junior year, Ron Zook's first year, we lost by a field goal, and it's setting up just like 2001. We about to lose, and we blocked it. And Ben Hill Griffin, you know how it is, buddy. You can hear a pin drop. It was so quiet, and the snap came, and Bobby McCray got his big paws up there, and we blocked it. We go to overtime, and they had Jason Campbell, they had Ronnie Brown, they had Cadillac Williams. That team was loaded. Yeah. And the best moment was my sophomore year. the best moment I think was my sophomore year. It was my freshman. My freshman year, we played South Carolina, and we were down. They blocked like 2 kicks away. We was down.
Oh yeah.
And Lou Holtz was the head coach, and and right before Jabbar Gaffney had a big catch and run. That's when he had the 80-yard touchdown. He did the Heisman pose, and Thomas Moody had a deflection. And right before the half, they punted it to Lito Shepherd, and the whole crowd was yelling Lito, and he took it in for a touch. And Lou Holtz was like stunned, like what just happened? So I'm looking forward to getting back to those type moments because, and I want it for those current players who grew up hearing about the Swamp and the home field advantage and how crazy it can be. I want it for them because you know how it is, buddy. When Florida's rocking, we hard to beat.
Well, that Swamp is we're talking about the story last night I read. I was talking to Allie Pete Wilbur about it. And there's somebody rating, and it's just a reputable group rating the best stadiums in the SEC. And, you're going to give it to probably at Baton Rouge will be in there. And then, of course, Neyland goes in there. And then they put in they put in Kyle Field. I'm saying, wait a minute. Now, I get it that Kyle Field is big and that Kyle Field, has massive crowds and great fans, and they have the 12th man and all that. Yeah. But I'm sorry, the character of the stadiums like this that Florida has, for instance, I think Auburn's a very underrated stadium. That's a hard place to play. Naturally, Alabama was, but, it has to do with the team playing at a high level. If a team plays at a high level for a long time in a stadium, the stadium begins to get a reputation. Now, when Spurrier was there, the Swamp was the place to play.
Yes.
And now because Florida's been a little down, people forget. But if you have not been there, and they're going to find out about it in Texas when they come here, when you talk about a hot day in September or October, when these 88,000 are on you, on top of you, in a drenching sweat, and screaming and busting your eardrums, and you got to go play football here in Snapchat, brother, you don't know what this difficult. I mean, it's hard. I've been to the mall. I certainly know all about Baton Rouge and been going there for 100 years. I give them the props. But I'm going to tell you what, at the peak, Florida, given the structure of the stadium, is every bit as tough to play as LSU.
It is. And we've earned that distinction, right? We've earned that. It's not like, yes, we're going to be biased when it comes to the team you played for, the stadium you played in, but when the Swamp is rocking, it's so hard to describe it. It's crazy. My mom used to talk about how she said when Florida's playing well, you forget about the heat. Because it's hot. I mean, it's ridiculous hot. Mm-hmm. But she said you about forget about it because you understand. Like, people will say, well, what about when you play Florida at night? You still can't hide. That humidity in that stadium, it is definite. And buddy, it's one of the best venues in sports, college or not. It's one of the best like Gainesville is a college town. Yeah. You be wondering yourself, and like I say, I mean, people plan their week around it. People planning their,
the whole year around it.
Of course. And I think about guys, Antonio Anzalone. No. Antonio, the one that came from Penn State. I can't remember the D tackle we interviewed. I can't remember his last name. Antonio Valentino. I can't remember his last. He came from Penn State, and he was talking about how he said, "Man, I played at Penn State, and I played against. I knew how crazy it was." He says, "When I get to Florida, dude, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it." So I'm looking forward to getting back. I don't know. We got a bunch of night games this year, unfortunately. A bunch of night games. But I'm like Chris. I'm like you. But I'm like Loren. I'm like Franz. I've been in Florida one time to where they did the wave. I don't know who was playing. They did the wave one time, and it was. I'm biased. Yes, I am extremely biased about the school that I like. But I've been to South Carolina, overrated. Mr. Big Spur over. Now Tennessee. Tennessee is a different place. Like, it's huge. Tennessee is huge, but I don't respect LSU because it's two Death Valleys. I mean, it's a Death Valley in Clemson. I mean, it is. You don't gotta like it, but it is. It's only one swamp. There is no duplication. Nope. And I know they got that team on the Panhandle. Who cares? They got that team down there in South Florida. They couldn't sell out if you gave the tickets away for free. Nope. It's about them boys in Gville all day long.
You got a guy here smiling and agreeing with you. Hello, Franz. How you doing, Franz Beer joins the program.
Another day in paradise, guys.
Yeah, we were talking about stadiums earlier, and Chris Doering was on earlier too. We talked about the phenomenal recruiting class Florida's had. 10 guys down 30 days. And I said to Chris, even a dummy like me, who didn't know anything about recruiting, understands that's big. And we talked about the speed element, Franz. You and I talked about it. Now this latest kid they signed, the Nebraska commit, he's the fastest guy in Florida. They got Demps Rainey kind of speed on that team. And we were talking, Franz, today earlier about getting a 4x100 team from the football team to run against the track team. They got some blazers, friends.
Well, this is kind of reminds me when we had Rainey Demps and Percy Harvin and Lewis Murphy. I mean, you're talking about four guys that could really run. And all four of them, Percy never ran for the track team, but Rainey Demps and Lewis Murphy did. And they got national championship rings, I believe, running track for Mouse. But, yeah, you get, one thing that Florida has always had is speed. And I think we got away from landing and recruiting the speed that's in this state. We haven't had it in a long time. We've missed having game breakers. That's one of the reasons why I'm so happy to see us with Dallas Wilson and VB3 and people like that. We've got guys who are game breakers again now. And it's been a long time since we had that. That was one of the things about with Spurrier and also with Urban. You stepped out on the field and you start looking, well, if I double him, I got to let him go free. If I double him, I got to let him go free. And just all the way down the line. I mean, it's like when, Ben, you were there with Riche and Gaffney. Okay, if you want to double up Gaffney, you got to let you got to let Riche go free. You want to double them both up, you got Taylor Jacobs. You got to let him go free. That didn't go so well, did it?
No, it didn't. It didn't. Spurrier did it. Coach Spurrier did a really, really good job of. I mean, you got three alpha males playing receiver, but neither one of them are saying. Taylor Jacobs was a blend of Jabbar and Riche as far as like explosiveness. Jabbar Gaffney. That boy can run routes he just had a knack. And Riche was like that Swiss Army knife. Like people go, hey, Riche's pretty fast. I said, yeah. And then when Riche leaves, I get his brother Bubba. I get Bubba, his freshman year, and you start talking about speed is one of those things where they say, look, man, you can't coach it, but you need it. You want speed on the perimeter, give a guy a quick hitch, let him go. And some of these guys they got now, it's something that Nick Saban told Greg McElroy. He said, people to say, oh, Greg McElroy with the 80-yard touchdown. No, he threw a 10-yard touchdown to Julio, and Julio ran 70. Like, it's an 80-yard touchdown, but one guy did most of the work. And when you got guys like we got now, man, get the ball to them and let them work. Get the ball to them and let them guys. I'm just looking forward to seeing how they're going to spread it around, friends and buddy, because it took getting Ron Zook to really realize how brilliant Coach Spurrier was at calling plays. Like, he'll go, dude, I don't have 1st and 6 plays. I don't have 2nd and 9. I got, if you make a mistake and we find the best matchup, throw it to him. I mean, we lost to Auburn. We lost to Auburn my sophomore year because Riche and I think Jabbar, they ran into each other and they failed. That's how we lost. Coach Spurrier never talked about winning. He just says, I just don't think y'all players are better than mine. And I know y'all recruit and we recruit, but give me a gunslinger. Mm-hmm. If his last name is, whether his last name is Palmer, which, I didn't play with Jesse that much. I played with, it was more Sexy Rexy. Rex can throw that thing. I mean, so you give me and with DJ and getting the ball to him, man, it could be scary. And like I say, Arch Manning, we need to keep the same tradition as his Uncle Peyton. His Uncle Peyton went to UT. He couldn't beat Florida. Let's make sure Arch can't beat Florida either. Let's just keep the tradition going.
By the way, Ben, do you remember when Pro Day, when Rex was did Pro Day, and Rex had gone to the combine and noticed they let them measure with their socks on. So Rex put some styrofoam in his socks, and he measured 6'2". And when they came here for Pro Day, and they said, "Okay, Grossman, your height," and he says, "I'll take my combine height."
We're talking about Loren Meadows right now, and good to have you all. Welcome back from Paris, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Suffering over in France for the last few days.
I thought he was in Paris, Kentucky.
Yeah, that's what I was in Nashville when I got back from Paris, so not so great. Not shout out to Nashville, but it's not Paris.
Well, welcome back to the program, and I want to be sure I get some comments in here from you guys in the next couple of minutes because we have a producer who's very strict. We have a huge audience tonight. Biggest we've ever had in the history of the show tonight.
That's awesome.
Thanks to Brendan Martin. And
yes, sir.
Over 1,000 people watching live. Watch you clowns. And so let's make it worth it. And I want to go around the table and say, we've got to talk about the story du jour. We don't want to talk about it, which a lot of people don't, including Chris Doering. We've got to talk about recruiting because the incredible run, Loren, these guys have been on now. 10 players in 30 days, a whole bunch of 4 stars, maybe a 5 mixed in there, and still to come. I don't know how you measure it because you can't, because I know they committed, but they haven't signed all that. But you know a large chunk of those people are going to show up on the roster in the field. And if you get 85% of them, this football team just took a quantum leap in depth. Loren, how is he doing it? What does it mean? And what do you think of the class they got so far in 2026?
I think he's doing it with a great operation. And, it starts with Katie Turner and the on-campus recruiting staff that they have. Obviously he's got himself a great group of guys that know X and O's, but also great recruiters. Some of the quality control guys that are around and have been part of this program. But just when guys walk on campus and with the visits and everything is so well timed, put together, I think them renting out basically Spurriers for most of the visits and having Coach Spurrier around and just being part of, Spurriers really captures the essence of what Florida football was, Ben, that. And, it just all is part of a great operation. I mean, shout out to Katie Turner and what she's been able to put together. And I think people come and once they get involved with Coach Napier and then they get to talk to Coach Gonzalez and Jabbar Jalouk, who, has a great rapport with guys. Coach Gerald on the office with the defensive line. Just a lot of, Coach Sinceri that's come in, kind of a younger guy with the defensive backs, and just all those guys that have been part of this operation. I mean, it's starting to come together, and I mean, I've been hard on the program for some things on the field, but I think if you look at the last few years of recruiting, it's a group that's calculated. They just don't bring in anybody. They just don't recruit anybody. They get people that are going to fit with the program, are going to be engaged, want the whole experience here at the University of Florida. And they hot as a firecracker right now. A lot of people bullish on the Gators on the field, and the recruiting is showing. And so, the last week that they had is maybe one of the best weeks that they've had. I said outside maybe that first week, what Billy was able to do with that, getting that back end of that recruiting class when he first got the job. But I mean, it's been great, and you got to give them credit. I mean, this is part of the game. Recruiting is big, and it also shows. You know, when Napier said, "I've got 85," we've got 85% or agreements with 85% of our roster. It shows that they understand the entire process, the on-campus recruiting, the NIL, all of those things that go into building a team in this new age of college sports. And I think they're starting to master it. So they've got it at all parts, and it shows with guys signing up to be part of it.
Yeah, friends, I don't know. We talked about this some. And by the way, you can read Fran's Beard on GatorbaitMedia.com. For those folks who are just tuning in tonight, we have a large group of people. You go to GatorbaitMedia.com, sign up, get to read some terrific articles. Every now and then, Loren even writes one. We'll get him back on the groove again. And Fran's Beard, and we have a terrific group of people on GatorBait. Check it out. I wanted to say, Franz, I want to say, here's a QR code for that, by the way. That talk about what Billy has done, and talk about how he's done it, and talk about how much better this team looks like it might be.
Well, I'll start with one other thing to add on to what Loren was saying. This weekend, they're going to have a junior day. It's called the Grill in the Ville, and they've got juniors. They've got 70 juniors coming in. At least 2 or 3 of the top 5 or 6 at every single position in the country. They're coming in this weekend. And my guess is that he's going to leave. They're going to leave, and Billy Napier is going to have himself a handful of commitments from 2027 guys. How he's doing it? I mentioned this the other night, buddy. It's called 80-20. 20% of the time they're talking football. 80% of the time they're talking about you. Okay, what do you need to be successful? What do you need to be happy? What can we do to enhance you as a person? What can we do to make you feel better about being you? What can we do to make you have a future beyond football?
Loren,
These are all
shaking your head, Loren. Why are you shaking your head, Loren?
No, I agree. That's what I mean. I mean, the total package when you talk about just getting to know guys, getting to know what they want in life. Like I said, this whole operation, just what do they want to get out of this college experience, this college football experience? And like Fran said, it's getting to understand that it's just not we want you here. We don't want you to be here for a little bit and go. We want you to be here, be a part of this Florida experience. And really, buddy, you chronicled it, those glory years at Florida. We want you to get us back to that point where guys were not only winning football games, but getting degrees, going out and becoming big time, not just in football and professional, but in other facets of the game. And it just, I mean, I think that's where this thing could be headed. Like I said, obviously you're judged on those 12 Saturdays in the fall, but I mean, you gotta be impressed with it. And it's taken a while, but I think they're starting to figure this new landscape out.
Yeah.
And Franz, I mean, Franz is exactly right. It's just they really have a good group of people when you get past even Billy Napier, the position coaches, but the people that are in quality control, and some of those people are excellent folks, and I think it's showing throughout.
I'm gonna get back to Franz in just a second, but I want to make a point, Franz. You can pick up on this too. I'm sorry for interrupting you. You and I talked about Jabbar Jalouk, a guy who knows his players. I don't know the man. I've been reading up on him. He knows his players, and he has got, talk about production. This guy, the running back room is as good as there is in the league, if not the country. And he is a very personable guy. He knows his players. He knows all about them, their moms. I didn't know that Montrell Johnson's mom was a rap artist in New Orleans. I heard him say it, and he knows his. I heard him talking about if he had on an island, he needed help. Which one of his players would help him? He said Trayon Webb. He said he's very smart. You know what to do. Those are the things I love to hear. And France, It tells us that he knows his players.
Well, he does, and it goes back to something I've been harping on for last month. Billy Napier is building this program from the ground up, not from the top down. When you see a team like LSU with 18 transfers, of which 11 are going to start this year, you're building your program from the top down. And you may get lucky and get successful. You just may. But can you sustain it? I mean, Lane Kiffin has mastered the portal, but let Lane have one bad year in the portal, and those folks in Oxford are going to be saying, "Wait a second, what's the matter with us?" You got to build your program from the ground up, and you build it from the ground up. You know what? I wrote this the other day. I said, use the reference from the Bible. The wise man built his house upon the rock. In other words, he built a foundation. And the unwise man, the other man, the foolish man, built his house on sand and it washed away.
Now, wait a minute. You're encroaching on Pastor Troupe's territory. Now, this is his job to talk about.
Yeah, partner sermon.
You're right,
but you can. But here's the thing, guys. You can, when you build your program and put a foundation in it, you can sustain excellence.
Yeah.
You can't sustain excellence. It's a crapshoot every year when you're having to do it in the portal. You hear me talk a lot about LSU. They may just do great. I don't know, but I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because they're relying too much on people that have come from outside the program. Florida this year is relying on guys that have been here 2 and 3 and 4 years. Like you take a guy like out of our left tackle out there. I'll tell you what. I love the fact that he came here and he has busted his butt to get out there. Austin Barber has busted his butt since the day he got here, and he's listened to everybody. He's listened to the people that have told him what he needs to do to get better, and he's done it.
We had him on this show a couple of years ago. Let's give Ben a chance to respond to all that. You agree about LSU, and you think they're on their way to something special? And can they get to that 10-win mark this year, Ben?
Can LSU? I hope not. I hope they don't.
Florida get to the 10-win mark. And what about LSU? How good are they?
I think the thing that Florida is doing is Florida is going against the grain and saying, listen, we still do recruiting the old school way. We still getting guys out of high school. Because the thing around college football is you snatching a bunch of guys that's already been developed or figured out what college football is. You know something else that Billy Napier did that he don't know what he did? When he let Derek Wingo have a podcast while he's a current player, players see that stuff, man. They'll say, wait a minute. It's not that I'm going to get one, but it's all about branding now. Everybody got a brand. Everybody brand conscious. And how can I partner my brand with your brand? Billy Napier was willing to take a chance on a guy like Derek Wingo, and other players see that. But the greatest thing Billy Napier did is when everybody was watching against LSU, against Ole Miss, he delivered. And I don't know if they told the players this, but when you win a game and you run down to the south end zone and you high-five a recruit, that's what they go back and tell their hey man, in Florida, man, it's different. That standalone facility, it don't get much better than that. And you know what other recruits say? They say, hey man, I know you went to so-and-so, what they had. Oh man, they had their own little private little barbershop. Got it. So you can always add, it's always room for renovations in there. But what Billy Napier did, the best thing he did, he got his quarterback. When you get the QB, other players want to play with this dude. That's recruiting one-on-one. If I got the guy who was highly coveted, Gatorade National Player of the Year, started every game he was in, and we don't do moral victories. Everybody was watching Florida, Georgia. They saw that touchdown pass. They saw what was going on. Mm-hmm. And he's just doing it the right way. And he's not trying to micromanage. I mean, you hear Lauren talking about Bree and them. They doing it behind the scenes, man. They are getting it done in a big way. And the thing about it is, do Billy Napier? I don't know. We getting all these luxury cars that we get. It's a different game. I'm just saying that kind of stuff works because sometimes you got to show a player. You come here. This is what is capable. This is what you're capable of doing. We ain't making you no promises now, but Florida is the biggest brand in the state of Florida. They playing like it. They trending upward. And winning the national championship in basketball don't hurt. That does not hurt because now you're like, wait a minute, hey man, we've been doing this. Most teams, they can only talk about football. That's all they got, if they got that. You talk about we got a year round. So yeah, I'm just happy. Every time I refresh X or Twitter, what you want to call it, we got another one. We got another one. And we're not getting guys. We're getting the guys we want. And we got guys flipping now. When guys flip, guys asking out of their NIL deals and national letters of intent to come for that stuff matters. So I'm just happy that Florida's getting it done. Billy Napier knows this. If I want to win at a high level, I got to get them boys in here. And I don't get people who nobody wanted. I get the guys who everybody wanted, but we got them. So
against break, and I want you to give you each of you 15 seconds, and then you can go. How much better did the Florida football team just get in the last 30 days with the players that they have? Just a percentage. Did they get better? And so how much, man?
Yeah, they got better. I mean, you getting highly coveted guys coming, at big time positions. I would say you got to see it on the field, but yeah. And I don't like to use X or Twitter as a barometer. But look at these other schools and what they got to say. All of a sudden, they ain't good players now because they went to Florida. Oh, we didn't want him anyway. Yeah, you did. Yes, you did, but you didn't get it. So, yeah, they got much better, much better.
France, how much better?
It's a developmental game, and these guys are freshmen. But what I got to say is in 2026 and 27, beware of the Gator. They are a better team long run, and because they got guys now, these guys don't have to come in here and play immediately and maybe get disappointed because it's a tougher game than it is at high school level, which a lot of guys do, and that's why they transfer.
Loren, how much better? Did they get better a lot or?
30% better, which
really? Wow.
But 30% better is good because they're already pretty decent roster. So I think if this trend continues, you're talking about added depth and just some really talented players at some big time positions. So I'd say 25 to 30% better.
Great stuff tonight, guys. 1,170 people watching you live. Terrific job. Thank you for everything. You're welcome, Loren, back. Welcome back, and you'll see you on Tuesday nights. All right, thank you, Ben. Look, right. No, you ain't gonna do that now.
Hey, by the way, CAG went yard twice, 387 feet with the first one, 439 the second one. Yeah, he gets a 95 mile an hour fastball on the first one, and he hits a low slider, 439 feet on the second one.
Real quick.
Hey, buddy, it's never happened before, but Ronald Acuna Jr. missed 50 games. He's still on track to hit 39 homers.
All right. Call me back in September. Let me know how it goes. All right.
All right.
The Orlando Rays.
No, they're going to stay in Jackson.
Florida owns hockey. Florida owns the NHL right now.
Yeah, how about that NHL? All right, guys. Great stuff. Thank you very much. Great job.
All right.
And let's go wrap up this edition of the Buddy Martin Show. Appreciate that. Don't forget to listen tomorrow to Brendan and Rob Brown on SEC Sidelines. I want to tell you about Titan MRI and Imaging, our sponsors, one of them. Titan MRI Imaging, formerly just Titan MRI. They acquired Highfield MRI. Joe Colorio started Highfield in the MRI in 1997. He's back now. Titan MRI Imaging now has 3 connections, 3 locations, 2 in Gainesville with Park Avenue, and now the Millennium Center, and 1 in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. I want to remind you, folks, that they have the same great customer service, meaning if you can't make it during working hours they'll make you a reservation for the evening. And they'll also go for the chance to get involved if they accept your insurance, or you can go to their convenient self-pay play plan. Titan MRI Imaging offers MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, and ultrasounds. Titan MRI Imaging, growing all the time in North Central Florida. Folks, it was a good night, good show. Appreciate very much you hanging in there, your comments and your support. Boy, what a crowd tonight. It was a record crowd, and our hardcore folks are always there for us, and we do appreciate that as well. So you have a good one, and we're back on Monday on the Buddy Martin Show.